Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome. We are about halfway through Money, Sex, and God, Facebook Live Marathon about money, sex, and God. And I'm Genevieve Rudolph, and I'm here to open your minds and bodies around money, sex, and God. You can have it all, right? Effortless. And I'm here with the darling Chrissy Marie, who is a total rock star, got the best energy. She is an inner child alchemist, which is why I wanted her on, because like my work, sex and inner child is so right there, and play and all that good stuff. And I'm excited for what you're going to bring to this and your gifts and what we're going to get from you. And thank you in advance.
I love you, and I want to acknowledge you for putting this on and shining your light. And I was just saying to you beforehand, the level of embodiment and medicine that you have magnetized and co-created with in this offering is like, I'm just like, oh!
I don't know if you saw me with Ariel, but I was literally like, I have nothing to say because you're just brilliant. Like I've got I was like, I just love you. This is it. You're just perfect.
Yeah. I have been tuning into these wisdom women, and I'm just taking in and absorbing, and like, oh, I can feel myself expanding, and so beautiful.
Amazing. So can we get in our bodies first and then talk more about you and all your things?
Let's get up.
Fuck these chairs.
I don't even know if I want to sit back down.
No, never. Hang on. Okay, I'm going to receive you. Go for it.
Beautiful, beautiful. I just want to start by waking up ourselves and just bringing activation energy into our bodies, starting with the crown of the head. And just rubbing up down the face, on the neck, into the arms, and just like really brushing, rubbing, waking everything up, activating our energy. Woo! Sounding. I definitely have so much energy in my body right now. Moving in any way that feels good. Releasing, calling in, activating. Yes, girl. I am a little sad that we couldn't dance, so I just want to sing the chorus of the song that I was intentioning to do this with you, and we can just kind of move to it. Oh, that's the way, oh, I like it, oh, that's the way, oh, I like it, oh.
Yes! That's how we have great sex.
Mama.
There's the answer to all your problems. Check.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, love. I'm like fully, like I feel so good. Thank you. Yes. All right. Can we learn about you?
Yes.
Okay. This is so much fun. I just want to like run around with you and dance and
yeah. Oh my goodness. It's so interesting because when people ask about me, I've always been challenged to be concise. I have this, and what's so interesting is what I've been living into is my big energy, because for most of my life I was in a very repressed, passive place. And I was super connected to my grounded earth energy and my flowy, watery energy. And my fairy, airy, imaginative light energy. But that fire, like that part of me that was so sexual and so angry and just so, oh, part of me that I was like, nope, we are not going there.
Right.
And so my journey as an inner child alchemist and into the coaching and the healing work that I do has been about rediscovering that fire through dancing, through play, through space holding for myself, but also giving myself permission to feel into my joy again and feel into that part of me that wonders and is totally fine with being in the question and the not knowing. Because confidence, right? Being seen as competent and, oh, she's got it all together and she's so poised and calm and controlled and wow, how do you do it? It's like, I don't no idea what's going on underneath. A lot of mental masturbating, right? Yeah. A lot of mental masturbating and not a lot of embodiment.
Yeah.
And so that's been my journey. It's the journey that I take my clients through as well, is rediscovering that fire within and learning how to hold space for it so that you feel safe there. And also so that you can connect with your joy, because I do believe that the degree to which we can hold space for our fire and the shadow, right? But like the darker parts of ourselves is the degree to which we can then fully rest and express in our joy.
Yep. This is why you're on this is it. I mean, I don't know if you know, but I play a lot in the kink world and help light from kink into love and connection and joy and pleasure and fun and to make everything a playground. And what I found in myself and what I find with clients is that the deeper we can go there, just like you said, I said this on someone else's live, it's like it expands the capacity to hold so much more. I think I did a status the other day that was like, you guys, like we as a collective humanity can hold so much more of our energy than we think we can. And we're constantly throwing it out or like repressing it. And we can actually just be in all of it. And I love that you speak of joy, because that's often weirdly one of the energies that's missed, especially in the spiritual community.
Yes.
Right? Like I am dance class, I'm like laughing, like I am like, right? And that's also my sexual energy. It can be. And right. And so it's just finding the layers. I love that that's been your journey and that's what you take people on, because it was, that can shift everything. Thank you.
So what's coming through is the paradigm of right and wrong, and how so often we're raised that there's a right and that there's a wrong. And a lot of people have associated joy with being wrong.
Yes.
Too much, unbridled, uncontrollable, obnoxious, even so much to be said as inauthentic at times when we're so disconnected from it. We can't connect, and we think that people are attention seeking, right? And that still shows up for me, right? People gotta think I'm seeking attention when really I just want to express and be seen, right? And just live into my essence. And so that's just one of the paradigms that gets to be unraveled as well. When we stop seeing things as right and wrong, and what I've taken on is things are either ineffective for our energy or they're effective for our energy, and for our calling and for that connection to source, to the channel. And that also, when we take that on, we allow ourselves to drop the stories of the things that we hold shame around being wrong.
Yeah.
Because that's the prison, that identification with it being wrong, you being bad.
Oh, this is really funny. My sushi is here, so
get it, girl.
I'm talking to go through my house and get it. As
amazing. I fully support you being fully.
What helped you to release this paradigm of right, wrong, good, bad? I mean, for me, I had this massive spiritual awakening that was like clear, and I was like, cool, got it. But I'm curious, for you, because not everyone has that white light experience that I had.
Yeah.
What's allowed you to do that? Thank you. New York living.
I love it, and I'm like, I could eat too.
Yeah. I forgot that I had to feed myself in the span of 7 hours. Oh, right.
I love it. Your question was, what helped me to start to shift that paradigm?
Yeah.
Coaching, stepping into the coaching realm really started to help with that. It really, for me, my sexual shame, I confronted just maybe 6 months ago. Wow. And I spoke about it live on my Facebook page, where I had deep shame around a porn addiction that started when I was 11 years old.
This is what we're going to talk about. All right, girl, let's go.
And I had stumbled on like very hardcore kinky porn at 11, and I had no context for it because, and I was watching some of your earlier viewers, again, raised from a Catholic upbringing, where it was that, sex is a sacred thing, but they didn't really talk about masturbation or what happens in the body and your sexual energy and how to be with it in a mature way. So I had no context for understanding like what was happening. And so I just, I had a connection there. I had a physiologically arousal, a physiological response that was of arousal. And then I was like, I wanted it, over and over and over, and I wanted it. And so for the longest time, I considered that to be wrong and me to be wrong. Like I'm dirty and there's something messed. I believed at a young age, there was something incredibly wrong and messed up with me because of the things that turned me on. And it wasn't until I was in a leadership transformational workshop where there was this exercise where it was like, you step forward and you talk to people that you just met and you declare what you're most ashamed about. And for me, it was very much a somatic release. And it was standing in the shame and allowing myself to be witnessed in love and declaring that shame over and over and over again until it was neutralized in my body.
Right.
And I realized, oh, no, I'm safe here. I can hold space for myself, and I'm being held in a safe container of love where nobody's judging me for that. And then, of course, the conversation and the realization that I had no control over that as a child, right? That wasn't something that I consciously chose. It was a part of my programming, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
So it was this mix of hearing the messaging over and over, but then actually dropping in and allowing myself to be witnessed in the process. And through that, learning how to hold space for myself.
And what I hear you saying is, and what's just resonating with me in my own journey, is that there's a release of addiction, the addictive, compulsive quality to things when we can release the shame, when we can become, right? When we can become embodied in our truth and hold space to be loved, right?
Yes.
So often addiction is a huge, I don't never say this on live out loud. It's a huge part of my story. So my body just went, what are you doing?
Go there.
And I know for me that anything that's done compulsively is simply just like it's this sweet part of me that's just doesn't know how to create consciousness around it, right? It's just this like scared little like, I don't know how to do this, which is the inner child stuff that you can play in, right? Like there are children living in our bodies, and they are, who knows what they're up to unless we really dive in. So I know for me, the addict child who, is this sweet little pumpkin who just doesn't know how to be loved, he sometimes can speak louder than my truer self, my higher self. And that's why the work is so important with tapping in, connecting, right?
Yes. Yes. What's interesting is, so before I got into coaching, I was working with
moms primarily, sometimes fathers, but mostly moms. And I was doing intense behavioral therapy in homes with children who had a lot of dysregulation, big energy, big emotional outbursts, lots of non-compliance, at times suicidality, homicidality. And I would go in there and I would work with the parents on deepening their relationship, both initially with themselves, if they were open to that, because that's when it worked best.
Right.
But in dialogue with their children. And what the research has shown is that when you make something taboo to a child and you don't honor their intuition and their ability to meet you in an understanding as to why that might be ineffective for them, or even to allow them the natural consequence of experimenting, you make it this, like now it's this deep, because children are innately super curious and they would just want to learn, right? So if you give them some bullshit reason for not engaging in something, they're going to not buy into that and they're going to move towards it, right? And sometimes what that looks like is the development of an addiction, like it did with me in the porn. But it still exists, that energy still exists within us as adults. The second you make something taboo, you're drawn to it. There's this, right? The inner rebel, that inner child that like doesn't want to be told what to do. And so a big piece of that is learning how to hold space for yourself and conversing with your inner child. One of my most powerful practices that I share with clients is literally just talking to yourself out loud. Having a conversation with that inner child and giving her a voice or him a voice. What do you need? What do you want right now? What would be so juicy and beautiful for you? Or even just like, what are you feeling? And sometimes I'll come up and I'll be like, I just want a piece of cake and I feel like shit and I don't want to feel like shit anymore and I'm tired of this, you know? And allowing yourself to whine, but holding space. Right? Because whenever you ignore a child, they get louder and louder and they tantrum louder and louder. And that can manifest as anxiety in the body or passive aggressivity, or overeating or overdrinking, etc., etc., etc. But they rage in order to get your attention.
There's that work for me that you just mentioned is probably like, other than like the spiritual awakening, the portals of my vagina, like that was top notch work. The second tier is definitely the work of talking to my inner child, and now it's at the point that like it's all day long conversation. Like right now I could check in and be like, so the avoidant wants to go here, like that person, that sweet girl, like she's like 7 and here's what she's thinking, and then like this one is like over here, and you're just recognizing and holding and loving them. And what was so key for me was like, we don't have to push any of it away. There's such a thing in the spiritual community of like I'm noticing it, of like pushing away ego, pushing away fear, pushing away, and there's this allowance and acceptance that I'm hearing in you, that is just so transformational when we can let it all in.
Yes, so very much so. I truly believe that love can transmute and alchemize anything. And the act of allowing is an act of love. That is divine, unconditional love. Right? You can bring any part of yourself to the light. And feel safe and feel loved. Right? And see it for what it is. And then you can choose from that space. Right? But it's not a repressed, like, no, fuck you. It's, I see you, I love you. I'm going to hold space for you. You can hang out here as long as you want. That's fine. And I understand that you're not of my essence and this feels a little bit better. Right? But this never goes away.
Like it doesn't go anywhere. Like, no. I'm going to have the like 4-year-old that feels lonely for the rest of my life. There will never be a point, no matter how much sovereignty I have in my body and how much sexual fulfillment, that the 4-year-old is like, no, I'm good now. Like, I don't need like that will never, she's always going to be there being like, you are lonely. Like she's going to come up. And that's right. Cause there's so much of like, oh my God, you should never feel blah. But it's like, there are parts of us that do, and there are parts of us that's it's kind of like dormant consciousness. They haven't quite gotten to where we are, our higher selves are right now, and we get to parent them. And that's, one of, I don't know, I see it so much in sex work, sex coaching. It's great. Because sex is from early on, it starts to develop, right? Our sexual and our shame around it and our blame and our, like, bleh. Yeah.
And so many parents aren't aware that really starts from birth, really, but like it is completely normal for a child to explore and to start piquing their sexual curiosity early as like 4 or 5, right? Even earlier than that at times. And so from a very young age, we are imprinted with it's not safe to feel into our sexual energy. And this is that piece that's connected to our creative energy. Our sexual energy is our manifestation energy.
Yeah.
Right? So the blocks we have around our sex and that root chakra energy is directly connected to our ability to express and manifest our gifts and our essence. Right? And I love that you brought up that the inner child keeps coming back, because I think in the spiritual community there, and what I've seen and what I felt in myself, kind of going back to that story of I should have it all together and be confident, is this conversation of, but I already did that work.
Right. Or I should transcend that. Or like there's like this stepstone where like I'll no longer feel.
Right.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I'm calling bullshit on that with you. Absolutely. The messaging I've been getting lately from sources, ABC girl, go back to the beginning, start again, go deeper.
Right.
Humility. It's like that childlike, when you bring that childlike wonder to your development of your essence and your consciousness. For me, it's a journey of mystery over mastery. If you've ever read The Artist's Way, Julia Cameron does mystery over mastery. It's just, you can soften into the unknown, and that allows you to, again, approach the ego or the inner child when she shows up, not with, what are you doing here? I thought I processed you out of my system. Letting her come back in and dancing and, you still have something to teach me.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, in reality, what's time anyways, right? Like we haven't grown. We're still that. We're also this old woman. Like we're all above all at once. And so like what we're going to just always have it in us. And I love it. I love that. I love when I had this awakening in December, my like big one where I realized that like nothing is good or bad and like nothing is right or wrong. And like, actually there's nowhere to go. I just stay home, like all of that stuff. It's like, oh, cool. That's nice. All right, cool.
Been running for a really long time.
I was like chasing, right? And then I had this moment of like, fuck, does anyone else know this? Or am I all alone? And I'm like, okay, of course, right? That's the 4-year-old. Of course other people know this. Who are they?
Yes.
And this is kind of like a creation of the people, those of you that are on this space. And there's nowhere to get to, right? It's not like we have to all be there, but there is such a synchronicity and fulfillment in connecting with people that are resonating, right? In love. It's really So
again, in the spirit of just what's popping into my mind and kind of bringing it back to the sex and relating, this is something I've been being with in my partnership right now with my husband, is that holding, really living into your sovereignty and the way I had been coached around it, which was initially triggering, even though I knew it here, it hadn't dropped into here. And I loved Ariel's conversation around jealousy, because that's an energy I'd been playing with as well. And it was that that realization that when you develop that sacred relationship with self and that sacred relationship with the divine, nothing else out here matters. No. You're not attached to anybody else showing up a different way, including your partner. And it's so fascinating because I can see it in myself so clearly that in those spaces where I'm disconnected from myself, I start attaching to his energy, and his energy I start to dance with it. Versus when I'm deeply connected and I'm like filled, my cup is full, he could be dancing in his own disconnection. And I can just hold space for that because I held space for myself first.
Right.
And that for me is the game. Just keep coming back to that.
Right.
checking in here. And the second I realize, like, and I recognize that other people's energies are starting to like hook me in, I just come back. And I think that's the journey for a lot of people who consider themselves empathic or like really tuned into energetics. That's really important, is to really take that journey within and tune into your own energetics and learn how to be with and navigate and master your energy in such a way that it's not co-creating. Yeah, like, what is that? Codependency.
Codependency.
I lived in for such a long time, and I didn't even realize it. I was like,
Yeah.
I thought I was. Yeah. I thought I was above that. I was not. Right? And I still drop in, and I'm like, oh shit! Like, you just like painted your needy energy all over your man. Like, okay, pull back. Back home, baby. Back home.
There's also this layer of truth too, where just like we're all one anyway.
Yes.
And it's all a dance anyway. So there's a level of like when I'm really fully connected to the divine, there's a level in my body of just like whatever, like love it all, like love all, like whatever. And you're like, oh, okay. Got it. Yeah. And then everything's like, woo, right? Which is really, that's the energy of great sex. Whatever.
Yeah. And yeah, right. Moving with what's present, with that curiosity, right? Instead of the having to micromanage and plan ahead as to how it's all going to unfold.
Right.
And this, and what came through for me is, don't rob people of their process.
Right.
Right? Because the second you do that, you're back into that right or wrong paradigm of joy is better than pain.
Right.
It is all connected to the dance, right? You need the contrast in order to go deeper in each and to experience your essence. And so, especially in relationship, I have seen myself wanting to fix, like very much my masculine, right? Wanting to fix but even nurture in my feminine. And I see this, and I've seen this with the parents I work with, and I see it with myself as my own parent, wanting to appease and spiritually bypass my own process to get to the other side. And again, it's going back to just allowing yourself to be and allowing your partner to be in whatever process they're going through. It is perfect.
Yep.
And holding space for that from that sovereignty is that true north.
Like everything is actually perfect. All of it. There's no wrong moves. Right? This is so good. I love it. So tell us a little bit before we end about what you're doing, what's up for you, what's coming up, how people can get into your orbit.
Beautiful. So what came through for me early last month was this program called Becoming the Gardener. And it's all about building a body of resilience for your resistance, for when that comes up, and rooting in the core practices, the embodiment practices and principles that allow you to return to that true north, to that sovereignty. Because for me, again, it was so much of the cognitive and the heady and the processing and the mental masturbation. And it wasn't until I really dropped into those embodiment practices. So it's a journey of that. It's a 4-week journey starting March 1st. And that is going to be virtual with a lot of meditation, a lot of manifestation work is going to be going on there as well. And that's really for anybody who's looking to find their personal embodiment practices and their personal sovereignty and principles. And for me, it doesn't have to be so complicated. I think simple is better. So getting clear and tuning in on your own inner guru, and just kind of, there's a lot of noise out there. So it's a process of learning how to filter through all the noise so you can hear your own inner voice and return back to that. So that is I think you're going to post the link, right?
Yeah, we'll post it in the comments.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And then I also do private one-on-one work, and people can just reach out to me via message for that if they're feeling called into my energy and they want to do the inner child work.
Fabulous. I just, can we be friends always? I love you so much. Thank you so much.
Mirror.
Thank you so much for being on. You have such a light, and it is so bright, and like, and yeah, I'm seeing that in you because it's in me, and I just want you to know, like, it is so good to be that bright. Like, it is so good. So keep doing that.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
Bye, love.
Bye, love.